who have made that happen. My comments are limited. My comments are limited just to sort of formatting question. And one is, well, in the paragraph that begins, we welcome the use of, which is in the second paragraph of the overall assessment section. The third line, there's a sentence, the RTAC anticipate, it should be anticipates, plural. And then the other thing is, in the first paragraph, that same section, second to last line, I'm curious why complete streets is, the word complete has quotes around it. If you want to do that, I wonder if the quotes belong around the entire phrase complete streets rather than just the word complete. And lastly, the choice of the use of the term RTAC has been controversial over the years. I'm not trying to make it controversial, but I'm just acknowledging it has been. Some people really don't like that term and prefer the use advisory council. In our bylaws, when we had amended them, went so far as to say we're the Regional Transportation Advisory Council, otherwise known as the Advisory Council. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you guys just don't care, then fine. But I just reminding us that that's been an issue in the past.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think if we switch the RTAC to Advisory Council, it makes the case of the verb more clear.
Yeah, I've always thought that it exists to advise the MPO. We're not just
right. So then it would become clear that it would be the Advisory Council anticipates, because then you'd have anticipates reflecting that it's a singular predicate, or a singular subject, So yeah, I'm all for that. I certainly don't have a problem with Advisory Council. I think those who want Advisory Council feel much more strongly about that than those of us who simply do RTAC because it's 4 letters and it's easier to type, So here's just a quick find and replace, and then adjustment of the case. So fine with that, Andy?
That should be fine. I think it's my British education showing through with my single versus plural group noun coming across there. So I don't even notice it sometimes, so I'm glad somebody caught it. In terms of the question about the complete streets, I think the complete streets is actually jargon. So I think I wanted to call out the fact that when we talk about complete streets, it actually has a kind of amorphous definition. So, I think we can talk about, creating complete streets maybe within the double quotes going around the whole term. That may make more sense, but it is actually, when I talk to people off the street, when you say what is a complete street, they don't actually talk about the things that we talk about with our complete streets, right? So It is important to recognize that that's actually a term of art in this world.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you.
So John, can you have your hand up?
Yeah, I think that having the complete streets, both words in the quotations, is probably appropriate, because that's the way it's been pitched as a program. That's the title of it, and the grants and such. So, and it's even in that language, I think, in the tip.
Great. And for me, it's the last sentence in the overall assessment section. It says, finally, we are glad that the MPO continues to use a cost benefit analysis. I think it's the first time they're doing it, and so I kind of like to reflect that we are happy that they have started doing it and then that they continue to do it, but that's minor. So if it becomes hard to tweak that, don't worry about it. You can leave it as is. And my only other big request is that the sign off includes the members of the 3C committee. This is not just me. So I'd like everyone who participated in that meeting that led up to this letter have their name included. And I can be one of them with my designation, but I prefer that it not just be me as the chair, looking like it's just coming from me. Okay.
Sounds good. Jonathan Church, I may actually need your help in just recalling who was actually on the meeting itself, because there was a fair amount of discussion, and I don't know if I actually can recall correctly just based off of my recollection there.
For the 3C documents committee, you mean?
Yeah. At that meeting. Yep. Okay. guess, Len, just I'd like to introduce the kind of last paragraph. There was a suggestion there too. So, looking forward to future years, I think one thing that was underscored with Matt Geneva, who was joining us for that meeting, was actually that, because of the bump in funding this particular year, there's actually essentially not much in the pipeline that has not been scored and has not been funded in the current TIP. And so, one of the things that I think this group has long focused on is the lack of technical support that's available for, less wealthy or less populated municipalities that may not actually, that may in the end just end up losing out on an opportunity to actually get something into the TIP. And so I think the line in the letter is actually the third sentence in that section, which is currently reads as we recommend the MPO provide technical assistance in accordance with the current LRTP goals and objectives. I think the recommendation is actually to change that a little bit to just highlight that isn't provided today in the amounts that we think is, appropriate, or not. It's not inappropriate, but it just doesn't reflect the kind of need that we believe that's out there. So I think the recommendation is actually changing that sentence to read as we recommend the MPO. I guess it's provide additional technical assistance, resource, and staff, or something of the sort like that, in accordance with the current LRTP goals and objectives. I think highlighting the fact that there's really not enough for what we believe to be appropriate for the moment. That we're kind of facing with, not many projects in the TIP pipeline. So that's the only suggestion that I've heard by email. I don't know if anybody else has specifics about this section, but those were the two areas where I got some requests to focus on some modifications in the letter.
I think that, if I may,
Yeah, sure.
that maybe not just for the moment, they should be staffing up with the technical assistance, because moving forward, as the budget gets more constrained, this will allow let's say the underserved municipalities or the less wealthy or whatever, a little bit of a chance to compete more effectively for those limited funds, and they may be worthy of that. They've just been invisible in their presence thus far, or the resources to become visible. So I just think it would be
Great.
to have more long term versus for the moment.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah.
I want to zip this along because I want to get people out by 3 at the latest. So if I can get a motion in a second, on this, and we'll do a roll call vote. We can wrap this up. So can I get a hand for motion?
David Montgomery raised his hand with his actual.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Montgomery.
I move that we go forward with the letters presented to the council for approval and submission to the MPO Board of Directors.
Thank you. And if you can just do a verbal second and just identify yourself. Come on.
Second.
That was John McQueen.
So yes.
Okay, thank you, John. And so Mr. Church, you want to do a roll call for us?
Will do. Leonard Diggins,
Yes.
Owen McDonald,
Yes.
David Montgomery,
Yes.
Faisal Husseini,
Yes.
Andy Reeker,
Yes.
Skylar Larrabee,
Yes.
Scott Tadakis,
Yes.
Fred Mosley,
Yes.
John McQueen,
Yes.
and Dan Martin.
Yes.
And
And,
sorry, and also Barry Steinberg.
Yeah.
Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And look, everyone, really, I thank you profusely for taking extra time to come and approve this. I think it's good for the advisory council to chime in an official way and on the tip, the draft tip. So once again, thanks. And I'll see you in June. So have a good beginning of the summer, everybody. Stay cool this weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
I guess we need to give a motion to adjourn, right? So when someone gives a motion,
Yes,
yeah. We want to do the roll call on this one, so who wants to go?
Move that we adjourn.
Thank you, John.
Second,
Second, and with no, if you don't oppose, is there any opposition? Let us know. If not, we'll say goodbye.
take care, everybody.
Have a
take
good one.
care. Thank
Okay,
you
bye-bye.
all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Memorial Day.
All right, thanks.
So I'm Jonathan.
Mhm.
So I guess Andy will just send you a letter, right? Or should I check?
He
in
will,
with him?
he will say, he could send the letter,
Yeah.
or I don't know if you need to, sign it electronically, but, we
I
can-
don't, yeah, I've never signed them electronically, so I think
okay,
we're all set.
then I
Yeah.
will just get the letter from Andy and we'll just include it with the tip comments, with Matt Genova.
Okay, so I'm all set at this point.
As far as I can tell, if I need anything, I'll let you know.
Okay, great. Take
All
care.
right. Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was your first RTAC meeting.
Yes.
That
yes,
was
it
pretty quick. That was a quick one.
Yeah.
Usually they're an hour and a half, but this one was called special to talk about this letter and go. And
Mhm.
I'm going to stop the